Welcome in to the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you very much for your questions. Don Hutchison is with us. How are you, Don?
I'm all good, Dan. Are you hungry, Ali? Because I owe you a dinner.
Oh, yeah. Don will be here in a couple of weeks to pay his bet, obviously, that Sirloff wouldn't get 10 or more goals this season.
Which he got incredibly wrong.
And it's steak and lobster, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
Steak and lobster. I mean,
Very
what
nice.
I should have said. What I should have said was 10 league starts. It's hardly started any games.
We should have said 30 goals, and I think that would have been probably better.
The fact that you're looking back at the details of the bet tells me that, there are some issues with that.
Ali has a bit of a sensitive stomach, so it's not going to be a late dinner, will it?
We can arrange it.
Yes.
In order for me to fully take advantage of the fact that
You take the
Don is
lobster,
buying me
Ali,
dinner.
or you're just a steak man?
No, steak and
You
lobster.
take the lobster, you're just a steak man.
Listen, you offer steak and lobster, I'm going to take steak and lobster.
Yeah, he's having the lot, isn't he?
Yeah.
Having the lot.
Absolutely.
I'll be hovering.
Yeah. No, you'll be there too,
Any
Dan.
leftovers? I'll be there.
You'll be there too.
It's on me.
Pardon?
What? Excuse me, he did not win
It's
a
on
bet.
me. It's on me. It's on me, boys. It's on me. Don't worry. It's on me.
Wow, I'm going to wear my best shorts. But Mr. Moreno, what was the most emotional farewell you experienced as a player? We were talking about this actually, weren't we, during one of the games today? And I was like, what happens when you get traded or when you have to make a move? You literally get a call and you're off.
Yeah, so you don't have the actual sort of farewell match that you're thinking about. And in fact, when I retired after I had played my last game, I was in between contract and I didn't know that I was going to stop playing. It was a possibility, but I didn't know for certain. And so I didn't take it as a sort of farewell match, if you will. The last game with the national team, I had a pretty good idea that
who was that against?
It was against Mexico. And I believe it was in Houston. And I knew that, the legs are not quite what they used to be. Right. I could see the younger players coming in.
Solomon Rondon's there.
Well, Salomon Rondon was there. Joseph Martinez was there as well. And you kind of go, I don't know that I got it in me, other than becoming a cheerleader. And that wasn't always.
No, when I think cheerleader, Ali Moreno isn't at the top of my list.
It wasn't natural for me. But it's still emotional. I think my wife was more emotional than I was when I said, I think I'm going to stop playing.
Because she'd see more of you?
that would make anybody more emotional. But
yes.
I think she said something along the lines, I wish that I had known, so that when I was playing my last game, sort of, I don't know, that she would have appreciated the moment a whole lot more than what she did.
Did she come and watch you a lot?
Yes, all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I scored a goal, babe.
Oh, beautiful.
Babe.
Not often, but there we are.
But hey, but still love you, babe.
Don, what was the most emotional farewell you experienced?
I didn't get any, Dan. I mean, the only one I got, which I look back on, is when I was at Hartlepool, when I was just starting off, my first professional club. And we were getting promoted about 3/4 of the way through the season. Then I got signed by Liverpool, which was just amazing. But Hartlepool went up. So the club paid for me to go on their trip to Magaluf at the end of the season. And I went on it. It was absolutely amazing. A teenager, first time ever abroad.
Brilliant.
Panicking. How do you even get a passport? What do I do? How do you get on a flight? How do I make sure I don't get on the wrong flight and end up in America? It was just panic stations galore until I got there. Then it was just the best week ever.
But very quickly, because you mentioned it there, and people may not be aware of this around the world, that you get traded here in Major League Soccer, you get a phone call essentially, or you're brought into the office or whatever the case may be. And in my case, it happened, I get a call on Thursday afternoon or Thursday night, I'm on a flight to the next city where I was traded to. In this case, was a Columbus Crew. And then Friday I'm training. Saturday I'm playing for that other team. All the while, my wife and the kids are back in Houston, and they're having to figure out what the transition is going to be like. It's not easy to do, and to flip the switch from when you're a player and you feel like you identify with a certain team, and then now you kind of go, oh, no, that's not my team anymore. This is my team. This is a team that I've always loved.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's why I find it entertaining, or humorous, I should say, or laughable in some cases, that some of these players go and kiss the badge just to please the fans. But the truth of the matter is that next year you won't be there.
Yes.
And so this whole appreciation of, some kind of fake appreciation of our club history, how How? You've only been there. It's like if I went to the Columbus Crew from Thursday to Saturday and I score a goal and I kiss the badge. How? There is no connection there.
Don loved to get a badge kiss, didn't you, Don?
Well, I did. Being a Newcastle fan, I went to St James's Park with Sunderland. Well done them, by the way, getting promoted. North East football strong, which I love. But I went there with Sunderland, being a Newcastle fan, and I scored in the game, and emotions just took over, and I kissed the Sunderland badge. In the Sunderland fans behind the goal at the Leazer's end were high up, so I knew they were in the gods, and I know they were loving life, and I just panicked and kissed the Sunderland badge. Well. Massive mistake.
A lot of panic.
Brother wasn't happy. Mum and Dad weren't happy.
I bet they weren't. You imagine going to your missus. I just panicked and I kissed her. I didn't mean to. I didn't know what was going on.
I don't think that holds up in court.
I was debating whether to say this or not, but the reason why my dad wasn't happy is because the windows got put through that night because I kissed the Sunderland badge.
Oh, Don. Oh, no. Well, to that point, Don, will
That's all right. He took it well.
Well, yeah. To that point, will you be buying a Newcastle Sunderland half and half scarf, Don, for next season?
No, I won't be buying a scarf, but I haven't played for Sunderland, and I'm from the area. I'm from Gateshead, and being a Newcastle fan, I'm probably in the minority. I know I am, because I know there's loads of hatred between Newcastle and Sunderland. I get it. You know, it's part of the rivalry. It's hostile. It's very intense, but. Being from the area, I know I'm in the minority, but I want all North East clubs to do well. I want Sunderland to be back in the Premier League, which now they've got. So now we can look forward to the time wear derbies and the wear time derbies. I think it's amazing. It'd be brilliant if Middlesbrough got there as well, because I want to see North East football strong again. That's just the way I'm sort of built. Now, if I wasn't a footballer and I never made it, I probably wouldn't have been thinking this way. I probably would have been really, leaning towards being a Newcastle fan and might have still had that hatred, which I had when I was young, because that's what you were sort of taught. But having played the game and represented Sunderland and been a Newcastle fan, I think it's amazing that we're going to have the derbies back.
Don, it was your boys. I saw your twins. How old were they? 7?
9.
9. Good. Pay attention.
9.
Don. I remember when you had them. Deary
My
me.
God, they've been running around the garden with toy guns and everything. Nightmare.
Yeah, standard. And who do they support? Newcastle or Sunderland?
Neither. Dougie's a West Ham fan. He got a West Ham strip.
Nice.
So this is how different my twins are, Dougie and Fletch. Dougie's a footballaholic. He loves it. He's at West Ham sort of academy at the moment. He's trying to get into the academy, so he's at like a trial academy type of thing. So he's like really into his sport, really into his football. So he got a West Ham strip. So he was absolutely bouncing off the walls. He was buzzing. Fletch, bless him, got 80 tea bags, and he was absolutely loving life that he got a box of tea bags.
There you are.
He loves a cup of tea.
Hey, good for him. Fantastic.
The 9-year-old is excited about tea?
Yep.
Okay. To each his own.
Exactly.
To each his own.
Ali, do you think Flick could bring Rashford back to his best?
The thing is that I don't know where he's going to play.
Yeah.
And who are you going to sit down? If it's Lamine Yamal one side, Rafinha on the other side, is it because you may play him down the middle? Maybe is that an option? But if it's about getting the best of Marcus Rashford on the outside, I don't know how you do that if he's going to be sitting comfortably on the bench.
Don, here we go back to Sunderland. The percentage chance that they stay up next season.
Do you know what? I'm going to show a bit of bias. I'm going to say they might be all right. They might finish 4th bottom. Some of the teams in the Premier League have been very, very lucky this season that we've had really 3 horrendous sides, really poor sides, and some of them have just about escaped. So I'm going to give Sunderland a boxer's chance, a fighter's chance. I'm going to say about a 25% chance of staying up.
25% chance of staying up. Ahead of Leeds and Burnley.
I don't think Burnley will stay up.
No.
I've seen a lot of Burnley, and my days, the amount of draws I've had, brilliant clean sheets, but I'm not sure they've got the firepower to stay in the Prem next season. I'd be surprised if they did.
Ali, have you ever had a teammate make comments like Garnacho? Garnacho obviously not happy they only got 20 minutes of the cup final. Amarina said, right, you're off. Where are the leaders in the United dressing room to say that's not appropriate?
Well, but I think you can go back years and ask the very same question about Manchester United. Now, look, when you think about dangerous players for Manchester United, and there aren't many right now, you think, well, Bruno Fernandes makes this team go. But in terms of a guy that can create something in a moment of transition, Alejandro Garnacho should be very much at the top of that list. And so it's surprising to see that he hasn't had more of a role for a team that struggles to create goals. And I think this has become personal, or became personal, for Rubén Amorim from very early on. And in making it personal, then you're also sacrificing potential team success. You think about the Europa League final, you're struggling, right? You're not creating much. You're not scoring. An attacking player could help, and a player that can get after defenders, that can create and manufacture some sort of chaos. And that he wasn't the answer. I don't agree with Alejandro Garnacho, him taking his comments to whatever levels he wanted to take them, but this is not just a reflection of Alejandro Garnacho. This is also a reflection of Manchester United and Rubén Amorim, that we're in deeper trouble even before Garnacho had to say something.
Donna, you mentioned, of course, moving from Hartlepool to Liverpool. I imagine a similar age to Garnacho, you would struggle to speak to teammates, let alone the media.
Well, we got changed as young boys. We got changed at Anfield in the away dressing room. The only time we were allowed in the home dressing room to get anywhere near the likes of Stevie and Rushy and John Barnes and all the legends they had at the time. You know, we had to go in and clean the toilets and clean the showers and clean their boots and take their kit. So we had to do jobs. That was one of the most amazing parts of being a youngster. Well, these guys and these kids now are fast-tracked into the first team, which is amazing for them. I'd love to be in Liverpool's first team when I was a teenager. I had to wait a little while. But I don't mind Garnacho. I mean, there's a thought, I think, in football. Sometimes we're a little bit old school. We can say, well, as a young player, keep your mouth shut and don't say anything. I think he's just a frustrated young man. I really feel as though he feels as though he's got the talent. I mentioned before that Amorim's picked a lot of fights this season. He's bombed Marcus Rashford by saying, you know, the goalkeeping coach has got more chance of play than Rashford. I mean, that's not a thing you say as a manager, really, if you want to try and half protect one of your players. He's fell out with Garnacho because he hasn't given the game time. He's fallen out with Højlund by the looks of it because he hasn't made him any better. So I think when you look at Garnacho, he's a winger. He's not an inverted number 10. He's not a player that's going to suit Amorim's system. So I get why the manager doesn't want him. But I still think, like I said before, I think Garnacho can go play wide for some teams across Europe and be a success.
Final question, Ali. Why does the Club World Cup seem to have much greater importance for CONMEBOL teams than UEFA ones?
Well, because it's the one opportunity that CONMEBOL teams have to actually compete against the European teams. Growing up, this is not just now. Growing up, what used to be known Copa Intercontinental, the Intercontinental Cup, which was the winner of Copa Libertadores against the winner of what now is Champions League, but used to be the...
Stevie won it in the past.
Correct. For the CONMEBOL team, the Copa Libertadores team, it was a huge deal. And I mean a huge deal. And it was sold as such in South America. And I remember growing up, and these games used to be in Japan. And I remember staying up until late hours to be able to watch this game. And it was so surprising to me to then hear Stevie when we were talking about the Intercontinental Cup, and I was telling him how important this was, and he said, well, for us it was a jolly up. And I had to ask, because I didn't know Stevie all that well, what's a jolly up? They didn't take it seriously at all.
They lost it, actually. I misspoke.
Well, in any case, I wonder why. They didn't care.
Yes.
According to Stevie, it was sort of like a postseason sort of thing. People were just kind of partying around the game. There was no preparation for the game whatsoever, and they couldn't care less. In South America, it was always a big deal. It has always been a big deal, and it will be a big deal in playing the Club World Cup.
It's a big deal for Don, isn't it? But for different reasons. Don, have you sorted out how to get on a plane in America now?
I'm not going there for the money, Dan. I'm going there for the experience and the knowledge, trying to get familiar with some of the Brazilian sides and the Japanese sides. I'm broadening my horizon and broadening my knowledge.
Yes, exactly. And Ange chose to concentrate on the Europa League. Thank you very much. That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show. We'll be back tomorrow to reflect on that exciting race for a place in the top 5 in the Premier League.